What's going on, guys? Zach from iTrendz here with Spence. We're going to be doing our market prep on the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, guys. It is the 4th of July. I hope you guys are having a good cookout. Obviously, we're not doing our regularly scheduled, planned market prep with you guys that we do live every Sunday and Wednesday, but we're going to do it recorded this time. We're going to start trying to do more recordings so that everybody can watch that can't attend our live preps. You can watch the recorded prep. So we're going to be doing a lot more of these. So beware about that in the future on our YouTube iTrendzTrading.com. So some special announcements for iTrendz. We are having our July 4th sale that is live until the 10th right now. We're giving 20% off our membership price. You can grab 20% off for life. So that's what you get locked in on, that minus 20%. You get locked in on that for life. So that's really exciting. We also just dropped our candlestick book today. It's live on our website. Go to iTrendzdTrading.com, go to the ebooks section, candlestick patterns. Just dropped 50% off for a limited time as well. And we've got some great new goodies as well. So for people that are not looking or not sure about the membership so far, we actually just added a free alerts channel inside of our Discord. So feel free to check that out. discord.gg/iTrendzTrading. So anyway, let's get into the market prep. So we got a lot of stuff going on this week, and it's a short week. Obviously, today's Monday. We got Monday off, which is really, really nice, long 3-day weekend. But it is a short week. That means that there's going to be less volume. However, there could be some pretty big swings overnight and throughout the day coming into this week, given that we have a pretty big news-bearing week. So as far as news, this week we've got Tuesday, 10 a.m. factory orders, month over month. That's the only big thing on Tuesday, thankfully. Wednesday, we got a lot of reports. 7 a.m., we got some mortgage reports. Those are like less important. 9 a.m., we got FOMC member Williams speaks, less important. 9:45 a.m., S&P Global Composite PMI for June. That's definitely really important. Put that up there on the list. 10 a.m., we have ISM non-manufacturing employment and PMI, both for June. Those are pretty important. But the really important one that's at 10 o'clock is the JOLTS job openings for May. That's going to give us a key look into the job report that's coming on Friday here that we'll get into in a second. Then at 2 p.m., this is the most important report probably for the week. 2 p.m. FOMC minutes on Wednesday. That's definitely very, very important. They're going to be talking about and recapping what happened about 2 weeks ago at the FOMC meeting where they hiked us 75 basis points. So they'll be recapping all of that. Those will be the minutes. We'll get into that in a second. Thursday, 8:15, we have ADP, non-farm employment change. 8:30, we've got exports, imports, initial jobless claims, trade balance. Bullard and Waller are speaking at 1 p.m. So a little lighter on Thursday. ADP non-farm employment change will definitely push and shove the market, but that's 8:15 a.m. So you'll be able to see that movement in pre-market and the reaction from that in pre-market. Then on Friday's big. 8:30, we got average hourly earnings, month over month, year over year. Non-farm payrolls, that's super, super important. We're expecting 270K. The previous was 390K. So we're actually expecting people to decrease. Payrolls to decrease, so people to come off the workforce by about 120,000. So that's going to be really interesting. If we were to be lower than 270K by, say, a margin of like more than 20,000, that would definitely send the market into just a smidge of shock. If we're in between and a little bit better, I could see like a small bullish sentiment from it, but nothing that's going to last, because if you guys have been following the market, any type of bullish sentiment usually just gets sold really, really hard into. So don't get too enthusiastic about the upside. We've also got participation rate also at 8:30, very, very important. Private non-farm payrolls, very, very important, of course. And then unemployment rate. So this is expected to be the exact same. Previous was 3.6, expectation is 3.6. If we were to get a move down in this, I would expect some buying to come into the market, but again, not for it to last. If we were to get above, like say 3.8 or like 3.9, something pretty high, a 0.2 movement, that'd be pretty absurd. So that could definitely cause some selling pressure in the market. Then we've got some other people speaking from the FOMC, and then 3 p.m. consumer credit. But those are the bulks at 8:30. Those are the most important reports on Friday. So to say the least, today is a short week. On top of that, pretty news heavy week going into CPI. CPI is next week. So we're leading up into CPI. We're bound to have a pretty range bound market. Personally, I see a above and below the median, only 500 points on NASDAQ for our supply and our large supply and large demand zones. We'll go into that in a second here, but we're definitely going to have some range bound markets this week. So definitely, if you're, don't get yourself caught in any trades. Don't get over enthusiastic about any trades unless you're to a little bit more to the downside for sure, because obviously our trend is down. We are in a bear market, so you don't want to be super enthusiastic about the upside. You want to be short or hard selling the supply zones. But anyway, Spence, I don't know if you have anything to say about the week specifically, if you'd like to say now.
Whatever comes this week specifically, like I tell everybody in iTrendz, and I've stated before that I tend to trade lighter on positions just because the option contracts aren't the normal flow. They're messed up by a day, and volume tends to stay lower, like Zach said. I will be looking out to load early, like Tuesday, like tomorrow or Wednesday time, be loading into some 715s for that option expiry, and then rolling all my other calls back out to the monthly for August. So I see a lot of stocks, especially in the semis, extremely weak. There's a lot of them that look like they're just holding on to the edge of the cliff. And if somebody pushes, they will tumble. And so that's what I'll be looking at. If I am taking any trades towards that top side, it'll be for a short scalp, mainly looking for the downside tumble or loading it up Thursday, Friday for a correct or reversal on Friday, just like we saw the last short week where we pushed all week long and a huge reversal on that Friday. And especially with all those reports happening on that Friday, I can see a reversal then potentially happen on that same time.
Yeah, it's a good thing to note as well that we have, we're going into a monthly expiration next week as well. We got CPI monthly expiration. And then I think the week after that, if I'm not mistaken, the week after that is FOMC. So it's kind of, this is always, you get that weird stretch between pretty much between it's really between April and September, where you get this weird stretch of lots and lots of stuff going on in the macroeconomic world as far as monetary policy and such. And then add on top of it our specific economic situation globally. We're definitely not in the best place. Supply constraints, really high inflation. We got a lot of pressures going on. So this time is already kind of hectic in the market. Not really, they say go away in April, come back in September. That's not the actual quote, but that is technically what it is. If you then invest from November until April, you'll be much more successful if you just stay from November, April, and then get out of the market from April to September. You can look that up. That is a historical quote. So we kind of got some crazy
trade in May and go away.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Sell in May and go away. Yeah. So anyway, getting into NASDAQ here, and we're going to go over QQQ levels as well. This is the hourly chart. As you can see, one thing I want to point out here, let's zoom out to the daily actually, is that one thing that the bulls do have is that we are making higher lows here. We've got one touch of our low at 11,068. We got a nice higher low here, and then we just pulled back and made a nice higher low again. This doesn't mean that we're just going to be up and away out of here, but this is something to say for the bulls, because if we were down here at 1160, be looking a little glum for the bulls. However, we made some nice higher highs here that are just important to recognize on this push. So basically the way that I'm looking at this, and I know I've got a lot of lines here, but let's extend this out. So this is 11.5. So this is essentially, for me, this is my median. This is what I'm looking for, my median. So 11.5, but above it, I'm like, and I wrote in my channel already and said it, I'm slightly okay and acceptive of buying calls at demand above 11.5. However, I do see massive resistance at 12K. There's no shot that we get above 12K this week. I'd be very, very surprised if we get above 12K. Underneath 11.5, I'm looking more towards the downside, a lot less acceptive of taking calls off demand. Not going to take calls off demand. Going to be looking to short pops back down to our low of like 11,060. This is really a zone in between 1160 and 10,930. So if we go over to QQQ, you can kind of see something similar here, where let's drop down to the hourly. So you can see here, the in-between is kind of like this 1077 level. It's really a zone in between 1077 and what's the top side? 1078 something. 1078.23. So really this is kind of like that's 11.5 mediator in between, above this, little acceptive of those demand bounces and taking calls up to it, but ultimately can't see it getting above this 292 area. Really, Spence has 291.87, right? 291.60.
291.84.
291.84. I got the beginning of my zone 291.35. This 92.92 is really kind of high, to be honest.
Right
This
below
is that same
275, but flush to 268.
Right. This is that same 12.5 level. So it's going to be really difficult to get above that. And really, really difficult to see us above that. Then, of course, our lows are just these lows over here, 269.30. So it's going to be a really interesting week. Aside, it's going to be very range bound. So if we have something like we did last time, where in the last short week, all you had to do was buy off demand, sell off supply, that'd be kind of nice. Buy off demand, sell off supply, and just run it back, run it back, run it back. Nice, easy scalp trades, 30-40%, take your money and leave. So I have a couple trades I want to go over here, and then Spencer is going to go over his. We can go right into Amazon. As you guys know in the chat, the ones who trade with us, Amazon is a fan favorite of both Spence and I. I traded pretty much every day. Spence, more than half the week trading Amazon. So it's a great stock to trade, especially after it had its stock split. Very affordable contracts, very affordable calls and puts on it. So overall, for all my levels here, you're going to see some kind of high levels on the top side, and some lower levels on the low side, because we're right at the median. So I kind of need to see some price action develop here. So above, realistically speaking, above 11.11.22, I can see it trending back towards this 116. And I was planning on the 111 calls. So right at the money at 111s. We'll look at the contracts in a second. And then realistically speaking, I kind of can't really take this until below 106, this 106.85. And my first take profit would be this 104.75 zone between 104.75 and 105.50, excuse me, 105.30, as where my first take profit zone would be. And then a lower extension down to 102 if we were to be short and have rejections off 11.11 inside this 110. As you can see, this 110 is definitely big consolidation zone for us. We dropped down to a consolidated drop to make our lows over here, came back up to it, couldn't really break it for a few days, and then finally broke it, use it as support, come back over here, using it as resistance. So using that resistance point to break above, looking for that 116, your first more conservative take profit will be around this 112.88 zone, which is definitely important to note, especially on a short week like this. And then again, below 106. So looking at the 111 calls above that that level above 111, sitting at 169, they probably look more like 230 when they're at the money, close to the money. You could go with the 112s as well. I would stick to the whole numbers on Amazon. They've got these quarter points. You do the 0.5s if you wanted to, but the whole numbers are much better. So also looking for, let's see, on the downside, I was looking for underneath 106. So I was looking at the 105 puts. Again, they're pretty far out because you got these quarter points, but at the money, they'll be more like the two somethings. So anyway, 105, looking for the shorts. So now let's go to ARK, Amazon ARK. Looking at Amazon ARK, we'll go over coin and Roblox. So ARK, very similar setup, higher lows here, looking good for the bulls, but ultimately going to be very difficult to get above this 44 here. So this is a little weird. You have a really quick trade above 41.83 to 42.35. A nice quick scalp trade. I think that you have a little bit more risk taken on there. So I really like it above 42.30 towards the 44 zone if you're going to take the calls. Waiting for it to kind of push up to this 42.30, rejecting, kind of consolidating in here and then breaking out of there. That's a much safer trade in my opinion. So above this 42.30 towards the 44. And then I'm looking underneath this 39.85 as 40 is looking like it's a nice support in this area. As you can see, looking over to the left, we break that 40 support underneath 39.85. I can see our first stop here. Let me elongate this. Our first stop at the 38.85 to 38.50 zone, and then ultimately the low being 36.62. So looking at that there, let's go to coin. Coin is a short only. If Bitcoin's going to be short, coin is going to be a great short to short here. You got a nice 4-point downside. So underneath 44.22, really simple, down to 40.83. Just take it down to its low. That's my trade on it. That's my planned trade. We didn't look at contracts on ARK. Let's go back in a second here. So underneath 44, that 44 level, you're going to take these 43 or 44 puts, depending on your capital. If you couldn't, maybe look towards the 42s or the 41s. The 40s look to be loaded up here as well, so those might be a really cheap option for you. So let's go back to ARK and look at the contracts here. So above that 42, I like these 42 at the monies, these 43s below that 39.
Archetype range right at that 42 contract and that 40 break either way. 40,
Yeah,
40
pretty much.
bottom side, 42, 14 on that top side. It's just been hugging that range.
It
You
has
also want to see 35 for August or anything over 44. But every time it gets up to that 44, it rejects, sends back.
Yeah, it's having a hard time at that 44, but these contracts are so cheap most of the time. Usually you can just take right out the monies. Like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can put at the monies for almost less than $1. So yeah, probably those 40s or those 39s as it comes down to that level. Coin, and then the last one is Roblox here. Just banging these out. So we have this nice impulse or imbalance zone, excuse me, from this previous impulsive move here. So in between 37, let's see, 38 is the level, 38 and 41, let's call it. So a nice little 3-point imbalance zone here that I've kind of been watching. We come up, rejected, come up, rejected. We can't get a confirmation close above it. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for it to confirm above 38. I'll take it above 38. My first take profit is realistically going to be this wick here on the side at 39.95, 40 area, and then extra take profits at 41. That trade will be over. Needs to see lots of volume and lots of buying pressure for it to get through this area. But as you can see, even on the volume profile here on the right, you have a lack of volume. So should pass through that area quite quickly. On the downside, however, which is also as equally as nice of a short, underneath this 31.82, very simple trade down to this 26.31 zone, 27.50. You could even get lower 23.75 or even lower towards the 21.30 there. So this downside trade is very, very nice, but it's also important to be aware of the potential upside trade here, which happens to be a nice imbalance zone. As for the contracts, looking for 38 calls, as we'll be taking it above 38. So these will be right at the money. They'll probably be around this $1.40 range. You know, you have these 36.5s, but those will be like 250 to be buying in the money, not how I'm trading that. On the downside, 31 puts, looking at these 31 puts, right? Because the level was, what was that? 31, 80, 82. So you'd be right at the money as well, about this 150, 140, 130 range. You could go down if you'd like to the 34 to the 33, depending on your capital size, but right at the money is always good, of course. So anyway, those are the planned trades that I'm looking at this week. Spence has a few that he's going to go over now, so we can take a look at those, Spence.
Go with AMD first.
AMD.
Like I mentioned at the top of the video about that cliff about to fall off, AMD is looking like it's losing support. Last leg hole for me is going to be 72.50. Looking just displayed towards the bottom side. AMD is looking like a push down lower. If it can break, I'll be looking at these 60 puts for 819. But that's 72.50. That's really what I'm looking for on downside. Semi's got hit before, and that's what I'll be looking for as well. That 60 put going out to 819. Save yourself one expo. Now, AMD does move, so take fair warning. It is going to move a couple dollars up or there, so you will have to average in if you're going out that longer strike, or just waiting for that break at 70 and take like a 68 put weekly. Next trade, same line, is AMAT.
Okay. Oh, I just set my alert for that.
Applied materials, same show, same attack. We're looking under 82.79. It's looking like it should fall back into the 69 zone. Not a lot of volume in there between that 80 and 70. I think it's going to fall right back through here as long as we can break the 82.79. Obviously, reject the trade over 89.32.
I was taking a look at AMAT, just side note here. I was taking a look at AMAT for a really quick scalp as well, underneath this 85.46 towards this 84, just 84 flat. But that was more of just a scalp trade, wait for it to, you know.
100%. If I'm looking at top side, my top side's all the way up at 89. I want to see 89. Something higher. Yeah. I'm not worried about here. I'd rather see this break $10 to the bottom side for the risk at the 83.
Agreed.
Then take it at 86 for 3 up and then get trapped at 89 and reject.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wasn't saying scalp upside. This is just an alert for me to look at the stock. Scalp downside underneath, it's 85.46 towards the 84 zone. But that was just quick downside scalp. But yeah, this thing is going to have some trouble here at 90. Anyway.
Let's go to Square. Square's a fun one. If you guys noticed with my last 3 trades and look at contracts that trade a lot of volume, so Roblox would be a great one. ARK will. Tesla. AMD square. You want to go where that volume's going to be at, or else it's just going to drag. Like I had JPM on my watch list, but that's going to be a drag as well. We're going to square. We're looking at over 66.13 and under 61.42.
Under 61.42. Got it. Nice. What were the contracts? What were you looking at?
So I'm looking at another 819 play. I'm either looking at the 75 calls over 68.64, or I'm looking at a 55 put under 59.43.
Nice. I'll look at that open interest on those 55 puts. Yeah. Yeah, Square could get a little, nobody talks about their Bitcoin. Interesting thing about that, nobody talks about their Bitcoin holdings anymore. Like, you don't have Tesla talking about that. You don't have Square talking about that. So where their Bitcoin holdings at? Like,
it's for the different wallet off servers. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, right. They're definitely in the gutter.
We got Tesla. Everybody loves it. I love it. Tesla's great. This trade, it actually seems really simple to me. We're sitting right here at this 680 level. I'll wait for Tesla to push up to 700. So I'll either be looking top side, Tesla over 700, and I'll be looking at a 720 call or a 730 call weekly. I got a price target at 717.64, 733.54 for your P2. Those are two areas where Tesla likes to push up and reject. So that's what I'll be looking at on that top side, over 700. If you're looking on the bottom side, Tesla under 681, you're looking first stop 654.27 and then 629.91.
What was that first one? 664, you said?
654.27.
Oh, 66. Okay, yep. 654. And then you said 624?
629.91.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, that's rough right there.
So last week my strategy was to play the rejections, playing them off the 680 reject, play it off the 700 reject, and it actually paid off significantly well. So this was something I'll look to do, is to see if the volume flows in and then take it off those reject zones.
Hold on. This is a side note. I mean, you probably already saw this. I just haven't taken a look yet, but good Lord.
Yep. We're going to break one way or the other.
That's real bad right there. That's really bad. Especially like say we got some really bullish reactions off, there's 2 weeks straight of some nice bullish reactions. We see it trending towards the upside here, towards the 800. Then you're creating that rising wedge, and it's like, oh man, that's just a breakdown waiting to happen.
And then I'll be in January 24, 500 puts.
Yeah, I like that. Nice. Was that the last trade?
The Mouse House, so we'll pull up Mouse, aka Disney. Chapik did get a 3-year contract extension, so that means more trouble on the Mouse, and we'll see how he performs. I haven't liked his performance personally. It's just watching the company take it over. But I'm looking above 97.67 for an 100 call, or I'm looking under 94.36 for a 92 put. With Disney, what worked really well is seeing those large volume push in like we had at open come Friday, where we pushed up over towards that 95, towards that 100 and just played off the reject. 100 cycle levels, obvious rejection. Look at over 97.67 for a call, under 94.36 for a put. And I would stay close to the money on these contracts.
Close to the money, that's for sure. Well, that wraps up our market prep for you guys. Hopefully nice, short, sweet, to the point. Wanted to go over the calendar. We do this weekly, Sunday and Wednesday. If you guys have been in the live chat, we talk about what's going on economic-wise, in the economy for the week, our thoughts on it, our thoughts on the indices and where they're headed, our top supply zones, bottom demand zones, etc. for the week. And then the trades that we recap. This is free and open to the public every Sunday and Wednesday for all of you who are not in the Discord. The links will be in the description below. Feel free to check out the candlestick, our July 20th, 20% sale off of our membership, and of course the group itself with the new free alerts channel that we put in there. There'll be a couple alerts that are coming every single week. So be on the lookout for those. We've also got lots and lots of things coming up. We've got one free product in the mix that's coming out here soon. We've got lots and lots of stuff coming. The summer's heating up for us over at iTrendz. So feel free to stick around. We always appreciate a nice comment, good feedback on our videos, whatever it is. If you like the video, you didn't like the video, if there was something that you really didn't like, you like that, etc., put it in the comment section. We really appreciate the feedback. And of course, the subscription helps. We only have 130 subscribers, so very, very helpful with that. And the like, of course. So thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Enjoy your 4th.